Ridiculous, man. I gotta hit record right away because this is just crazy, man. This just feels good. Look at you, brother.
Man, what? Come on, man. Listen. Come on. You know what time it is.
Doing, man. What are we doing?
Listen. Just welcome to the Jewelerverse. Please enjoy your stay. Okay. You're in a place where it's familiar yet strange. So enjoy the ride. Anatol, pleasure to see you, man, as always.
It's brilliant to see you, brother. This is beautiful, man. I love the way that the world just happens to work, right? The Jewelerverse, the universe, how things collide. Everything is intricately woven and stringed together for moments like this, man. I mean, we got an extensive background. Before I get started, man, welcome to the Flourish 5. You are now on the Founders Flow. I'm your host, your guest host for today. I had to take this one on personally. I'm Anytime Barriola, co-founder and creative director of Flourish. And I have the honor and the pleasure with being in the Founders Flow with my brother, man, my brother Jai Lyle from FAMU. We went to college together, and this brother has built an incredible and significant brand that is here to stay, that is playing for forever. And it holds his namesake, Jai Lyle. I'm currently, could you explain and describe really briefly before we get into it? Just
sure.
What, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that you see? I'm wearing the brand. I'm wearing the incredible brand. Explain. You see this signature piece on the side. Just explain this real quick, man. Explain this jacket.
Absolutely, man. Well, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for Flourish. Thank you so much, Anatol. As you mentioned, we go back to our illustrious days at FAMU. But in terms of the garment that you're actually wearing, it's a part of a collection of a luxury heritage brand that is Jai Lyle. So ultimately, we aim to deliver garments and lifestyle items that tell our story while cementing a legacy highlighted by the triumphs of a family. In addition to that, we want to serve as inspiration to attract the luxuries of your mind. So that can be anything that you can fathom, because ultimately, every piece of garment that you have on that's Jai Lyle, that came from my mind at a time. So for instance, the Le George, this garment had a multitude of influences. We'll start with the namesake, since this is a luxury heritage brand. My Uncle George, if you add a UNC to Le George, that's Uncle George, right? So he sent me probably about a couple of years ago a Gucci garment that had a shawl collar, that it was a suede jacket. And I was like, wow, that was like affirmation for me, because I had been working on what you currently have on right now, the Le George, and it drew inspiration from one of my fashion influences, a Ralph Lauren cardigan sweater, but also one of my childhood influences. There's a character on G.I. Joe called Destro.
You got this. We got to do the split screen on this one.
So he has this huge shawl collar that's just super exaggerated. So I use that as some energy, a muse, if you will, to embody the energy and tone of a strong presence with the jacket, along with my Ralph Lauren influences from an elegant, prestigious, regality perspective. And then my heritage luxury influences from Uncle George sent me a jacket that had the comparable dynamic of a shawl collar, but with a different type of body. So my jacket had the same type of dynamic, but ultimately used the elegance of a shawl collar, right, on a cardigan sweater, but had the comfort and feeling of a bomber jacket. And now you have the garment that you have on your body, the Le George.
Brother, it's beautiful. I love that you have that much intentionality in the design, because, I mean, I love shawl collars. I mean, you could lift it, you could close it, wear it down, but I wear these on my blazers often, and they're just like this seamless kind of, design where it doesn't feel like it's interrupted, right? It's not a notch lapel. It's not a peak lapel, although those are beautiful. That shawl is this uninterrupted kind of, this elegance just kind of falling on you and allowing your structure to kind of be defined, which I love, without taking too much attention away. And then this piece on the side, this red piece on the sleeve, this prevalent this red, this color red is prevalent. It's on the side of your glasses. It's in the room right now.
Sure.
It's a part of the design and the logo in back of you and with the Jeweliverse. So why is red such a dominant force? Because you have a backstory. I kind of want to take it back. Okay. You mentioned this is a heritage brand. This is about legacy. Your influences being Ralph Lauren, and you mentioned Gucci. This is a Black brand, a Black founder, right? A brand for all with a Black founder who's redefining and repositioning luxury so it's accessible for all of us. So how do you kind of trail your story back, right? There's this heavy influence of red. There's this idea of heritage and family. Where do you get the idea from for Jai Lyle, and how does that heritage and that, you know, some of the symbolism kind of resonate so that the garments by themselves, you know, you have several garments, you have a beautiful line, they're gorgeous, they work on their own, but there's narrative and there's story that is embedded. And I want people to really kind of, and we're extending this Flourish 5. You know, normally it would be done by now. It's 5 minutes, but this is Jai Lyle. And I think that this brand needs room to breathe, and that, you know, our folks, man, our community really needs to kind of take a deep dive and learn about who you are, learn about the founder behind these beautiful garments and some of those intentions.
Thank you. I appreciate the courtesy for sure. In terms of the band and red as a whole, red is just first and foremost a dominant, a strong color, but ultimately, like, it was a color that I saw my mother wear a lot as a child, and it had a strong influence on me. And it was one of the last colors, not the last color I saw my mother in, honestly, you know. So I made a promise to my mother that I'm delivering on right now, and specifically with the band and its placement on any garment that you see produced from us. It's about being on the right side of history, ultimately, you know. And we're in a times where that is being questioned and that's being identified. And our aim at any time, at any space, is to be on the right side of history. And then in reference to the inspiration of red, like I said, this is my mother right here. If you can see, here's a picture of her. She's
elegant, beautiful. Hold it up at the end. I see the logo on the. Come
on, man. This is.
Wow, that's reverence, brother.
That was part of the brand, a fabric of the brand. I actually have some garments coming up that bears her image as well, along my father's image. This is a sneak peek of designs.
Woo! That's a knitted sweater.
A knitted wool sweater.
That's gorgeous. So who's the gentleman and who's the lady?
This is Britt and Doris Lyle, and I am Jai Lyle, a product of their love, and that is the Love Supreme sweater. So ultimately, we're going to have that coming up in the next couple of months in terms of our next installation of a garment. But as I mentioned to you earlier, this is a luxury heritage brand. I was the kid that grew up, you know, wearing and seeing Louis Vuitton, Ralph Lauren, but wanting Karl Kani. Karl Kani made me believe this is real. You know,
me too.
Like you understand? So I was Karl Kani Jai, you know,
Karl Kani, Walker Wear, the whole crew.
Right. So, you know, it's like I can speak authentically in a multitude of places from someone who may grew up and that's all they saw, like Rockaware, Pele, Karl Kani. But ultimately, I come from an authentic place where I was looking at Louis Vuitton luggage. I was looking at Gucci garments. I was looking at Versace, Uncle George, some of the fashion icons within my own family. To me, that was normal. When I grew up, I realized this was not necessarily normal, you know. But and I figure, well, not so much that I figure, I am a product of luxury parenthood, and I have a definition of what that means to me. It's ultimately growing up in an environment where I have wants, not needs, but not just from a material standpoint, but from a love energy standpoint, you know. So you can be a product of luxury parenthood because you have both parents in the household. They're telling you the right things to do. They're telling you, giving you that nurturing and love. And that's a luxury some parents, I mean, some kids don't grow up with. Yeah. And I want to showcase that success. I want to showcase and highlight that, and that's something that I think we can do with the brand as well that I'm excited about,
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I love that background narrative because, people buy into brands, they're buying into the founder's idea, the founder's, ideology and their morals and their values and what they stand for. There's a story in what you're doing. And the story is really, it's painted across every single thing that you do, and it's an important story to tell. So I want to make sure that the listeners, the viewers get to really understand who you are and your reason why you created this. This isn't something that, the holidays were coming up and you said, yo, let me watch these YouTube videos and learn how to drop ship, and print a couple little, and that's cool too, print some designs on a shirt. This is thoughtful. You fought again. You worked in corporate, you fought against this idea. You had this thing in you for such a long time. And you finally decided like, now is the moment, right? And I believe in timing. I believe in God's timing. But what is it that made you say, and this is important for people who have these ideas, that have something that they have deep in them, but they just can't seem to get it out because it's so personal, it's so close. Right. You mentioned your mother in past tense. This is in dedication and reverence and paying respect to your mother through this line. So what is it that made you say, now is the time, now's my moment?
It was at this point, roughly 5 years ago or so. I was working, I came up to Atlanta to produce. So I grew up playing the saxophone, I have a musical background.
And you can't just breeze past this, man.
Listen, I don't want to overwhelm, but I mean,
we want to get to know you because this all influences and informs your design. You have a creative mind, right? So you're the one that's creating these designs. You're hands on, you're in this. So it's important for people to know that.
Right, for sure. Well, yeah, I mean, like I grew up, came up with a musical background. My granddad, Dr. Lyle, famous band director at Alabama State, taught at Florida A&M as a band director, has his doctorate from Michigan. So it's in my blood. So I grew up playing the saxophone, came up here to produce. And while I was producing, I was working with someone that has worked with different producers, like anyone you can name, of Migos, French Montana, Gucci, anybody you can think of, honestly, right? Mm-hmm. So doing some merch for him. Long story short, that ended up not working out. Went out to California, had a big play, a merch pitch for like Adidas, I believe, at the time. And, long story short, it ended up not working out. Mm-hmm. So on my flight back to Atlanta, I'm like, Jai, what are you about to do? What are you going to do? You have to make this happen. I had no idea what I'm about to do, but I was like, wow, I've made these connections with different, designers, different companies on behalf of a producer, connecting the dots, getting branding, coming up with a whole merch design brand push for him. I'm like, Jai, you can do that for you. You've been wanting to do this. Let's do it. So ultimately I started coming up with designs, ideas, and I kind of settled on like this right here. It's a seal, right?
Beautiful.
And so, thank you so much.
Coin holder.
Right. And so the inspiration behind the seal was because I grew up, my friends, my colleagues were, hey, Jai, man, you looking, oh man, it's fly, man. How do you do it?
I know.
As a person of style, you know the feeling, right? So ultimately they would look for my seal of approval. Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, that'll be dope. And then this is something that's recognizable, but at the same time, I'm making it my own, So, and then for me personally, I never liked like card holders that were just like open, blank like this. I just wanted it to be closed. So like, it was dope. But like, ultimately, this spawned the idea of everything that you see right now, the jackets, the bags, the sweaters, the scarves. Like that spawned that thing. And like, and like, honestly, like it just took that push of like, all right, how can I figure out and get this started? And then like, well, I've already done like a hard part of designing exotic like luxury accessory, like everything else is easy to me. I have the connections to make designer coats, to make pea coats, to make wool sweaters, to make stuff that I would wear. So honestly, I was like, what don't I have that's not mine?
Yeah. that's the reference point, right? Like, right. If you could create the thing that because you appreciate some of these pre-existing designs, but you see it in a way similar to me, where it's like, well, what if this shape was different? What if you took this from this suit? The reason why I like this suit so much is specifically this lapel, but I really love the satin design on this bomber. Like, how can I kind of like make this world, right? Like, how can I make this universe? How can I get this seal of approval from all of my colleagues, my friends, every time I'm going out? Like, how can I create this universe? And you found a way to do it via one design, via one product, via that coin holder, where you said, all right, I have this idea, and you got that out. And then lo and behold, you had all these other ideas in you that you were then comfortable and confident to get out.
Yeah.
And when was the point that you knew that, you know what, like, this actually works? I have something viable. Now, I know I like it, and I'm my own metric is in terms of like what's dope. And through that lens, it turns out that other people believe that what I believe is dope as well.
Yeah.
So what was that point for you where you're like, yo, this is beyond me?
Yeah, most definitely. As an artist, as a creative, you go through that process of like, you like, but you want to give it to the world and see they see your vision ultimately, right? And so I was going through that process, went to my peers. Yeah, you want to have like their feedback and their approval, but ultimately, like, you want to get a concrete, like, no, tell me this is horrible, right? just to let me know this is real. Mm-hmm. But like, in a sense, you don't think it's that, but you want a real unbiased opinion. And then honestly, St. Miles as a creative group, that you guys were a product of that process of me knowing what I had was dope, but let me put this in front of a group of individuals that have seen the bar, have been in terms of standards and excellence, have seen a certain level of taste and things being executed. Like, let me see if this measures up in their eyes, So it's like, I knew it was dope, but like, let me, I like to test myself. Don't tell me it's dope and it's not. Let me see like what it is, so I can go back and make it and do what I need to do creatively to make it something that's palatable to my audience,
Yeah.
Because I want to win at the end of the day. It's like, I'm not about, I grew up playing basketball, sports, so I'm used to like criticism, coaching, and make sure we're getting it right. I grew up with Penny Hardaway and Jordan, so I had a standard of excellence that like, I hold myself to, Mm-hmm. So, once I got to that point and cultivated my story behind the garments, I think that's when I had a sense of like, okay, this is something that can really go beyond the aesthetic and dopeness that I know I can create. Like, how am I telling the story of these awesome garments?
Yeah.
That's what connected for me.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. You mentioned you work with our creative agency, Steve and I's creative agency, St. Miles, and we're able to see you really kind of transform in that process and really just like move forth with these ideas and move forth with this confidence. And it's been a beautiful thing, might I add, to watch your journey, because, we believe in your product, man. I tell you all the time that, all it takes is for anybody to walk outside and have some Jai Lyle on, and it works, it wins, we see what it is. But you're a rare creature. Like, you don't even come out for interviews. We don't see your face. Like, we understand that what the garments are, but we really want to take the opportunity to get to know you. And we appreciate you for stepping from behind the scenes and kind of revealing and showing a little bit more of you, right? And telling some more of the story. So what are some of the pain points that you had on this journey that you continue to experience? Because, with Flourish, we want to help Black brands grow, right? Like, Black brands that are viable, Black brands that are just getting started. We want to garner support around Black brands and really usher in the discovery of Black-owned brands. So we're no longer just searching social media and searching feeds and Pinterest and and shopping in that way, but a curated, specific, dedicated space to find brands like you and to learn about them. So what were some of those pain points along the way, and how do you think that Flourish can help you out?
One of the biggest pain points is just kind of getting out of your own way, you know? That's where it starts. And, you know, ultimately, that's one of the toughest parts. And, you know, you can kind of go through that process even while you're on the right path, you know? So constantly checking that and managing that, you know? Another pain point is just the expectation of people that you care about to necessarily, quote unquote, show what you deem maybe is like viable support, right? You had to get over that, like ultimately, you know, and that's something that if you know that you're going to be successful, like it's like it's going to happen regardless of someone's support or not.
Yeah.
And like you're on the bus. If you come in, great. If not, oh well, we still partying. We still popping bottles. It's still Clico. It's still a great time. You know? So,
yeah.
That's something that I would advise anyone looking to get into a space where they want to be creative, pursue whatever they want to do. Ultimately, you know what you have to do.
Right.
Just do it. You know, seal the deal, make it happen. You know,
It's wild because it's that simple. I mean, in that simplicity is profound, because ultimately, man, you can have an idea that you know is going to work, but there's all of these different just fears in your body and in your system and all around you. And a lot of times that stuff is self-generated. You know, like you mentioned Michael Jordan, he would create these narratives in his head about players. So this player said something about me. Man, right. The way he was chewing gum when we walked in, I don't like that, man. I'm about to score 50 on him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what are some of the points that you pull from? There was a long time where I used to rely on the negativity to propel myself. That negativity was fuel for me. So I would start to conjure up these stories in my mind, just like Mike did, you know, and probably a lot of the greats do, about, man, I need that tension in order to thrive. I need that negative. I need that. Oh, you doubt me? Right. Like, because I was doubted as a kid, in my mind, at least. I don't know if I really was, but just, and then when I show up in rooms, and you too, the way you show up, right? Yeah. Like somebody may or may not doubt because they don't understand or get it. But nah, like, do what you think you can do 20 times better, right? Like, but how do you get to that point, you know, where you're utilizing, I don't know if you know, have experience with utilizing fuel as negativity and how often you do that. But, you know, what is it? What is your source? What is moving you? Because, you know, this is something that is sustainable, right? This isn't just like a pop-up shop. This is a heritage brand that's going to be around for hundreds of years. So
sure.
How do you kind of like get to a point where you're able to move beyond the noise?
I was designed for this moment, man. Like, you understand, like my mom was a model, my dad was a lawyer, like they designed me like for this moment. So it comes from that self-confidence in terms of like, Jai, you're going to be great. Jai, you're amazing. You did great at your band recital. You did great at your karate tournament. Like, so I was programmed, I was designed for this moment. So it starts with me. So when I see others succeed, other greats that inspire me, it's like, Jai, why aren't you there? Like, make this shit happen, you know? So like, you know, it's like, I hold myself to those standards. So like, I'm my own motivation. I'm my own enemy, ultimately. So I'm fighting against myself, you know? And
I know.
Yeah, I respect everybody, you know, but ultimately I look at like peers or people who have inspired me as motivation, and not from a sense of like, okay, I guess maybe people who I connect with on a day-to-day basis, or someone I may have felt a slight of like, hey, you know, okay, you didn't follow about this business opportunity I presented to you. Great. Great. I appreciate you, my friend. I will see you at the time.
Y'all see you.
We can have a conversation and it'll be all love, you know?
Yeah.
You know, welcome to the party. You know, we are ultimately glad that you arrived, you know, but it's no hard feelings at the end of the day. I'm about exhibiting mercy and grace, you know.
Nah, I love that, man. I love that. I mean, I remember a time at a book signing in DC, man, and I feel bad about it. I apologize, young lady. But there was a young lady I noticed. She may have went to FAMU or something. And I remember at some point she said something negative. This guy's writing a book. This guy, something along those lines. So I saw her in the line at Park was long. You know, I mean, this was like a 2.5 hour situation. Like, no cap, it is what it is, you know? Right. And she was at the end and she walked up to the front and kind of like one of the homies, she said, hey, can I chat with them or what do you know? I told my homie, I was like, send her to the back. Send her to the back. She got to wait. And at that time, I felt like it was retribution. I felt good, but you gave a good point, man. Like, you know, it's about support, bro. It's about grace. It's about mercy. Yeah. It's about love. And we're at a point now, again, forgive me, young lady, for doing that, for making you wait.
Those are valid feelings, though. So you lean into those feelings. But like, in terms of how you manage it, you know, I'm at a point in my life now where I can't say that I wouldn't have done that a couple years ago. Like, yeah.
So you get it. You know, so you know that feeling, man, where somebody just, you know, they just doubt it, man. And it is encouraging and it's good to be able to convert that negative energy into positive fuel. But it's the problem begins when you rely on that negativity as fuel, because you will never be able to appreciate the moment that you're in and the love that you're getting. You know, you'll get 200 comments and 199 of them are brilliant. You're focused on that one little thing of that person. I compare it to like you have an all white suit on, you know, you got your LaGeorge in red, right? I think you have the red one behind you. Right. And, or is that a button? Is that the LaGeorge?
That's the red one. That's the red one. Yeah.
So imagine spilling something on it, you know, and it's the only stain on this beautiful garment, right? It's the only blemish. And you're not paying attention, no longer paying attention to this beautiful ensemble, but you're focused on that one little tiny little stain that doesn't even matter and is insignificant. That's kind of how we are. So, you know, it's important to be able to use everything and waste nothing, but it's also important to grow within your journey and to embrace the tools that you receive on your journey so that you can apply them on the road ahead so you can be the 100-year plus heritage brand that my son Miles knows about and says, my dad interviewed him on Founders Flow like back in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. So it's beautiful, man. It's amazing and incredible to have you as a friend, as a partner in business, and to just watch your brand develop. Now, you mentioned peers. You know, I want to, we highlight Black brands over here. So I want you to, you know, first of all, I'm rocking, obviously, Jai Lyle's LaGeorge. I always got on all black. I'm rocking Christopher Kite's young kid out of Chicago that I support. Jerry Lorenzo, top and bottom here. What are some Black brands, man? And of course, you know, the art's just Black. You know what I'm saying? Right. Skylar Gray, Knowledge Bennett, Nina Chanel Abney, Virgil Abloh back here. So what are some Black brands that you recommend, that you love? Not a Lil Wayne answer like what music you listen to. I only listen to my own, but because I know you only rocking Jai Lyle from head to toe, draws and socks. You know what I'm saying? But what are one or two Black brands that you just want to see win and you love watching just grow and develop, man?
That's a loaded question, man. A lot of beautiful Black brands, man, that are just out here thriving.
It could be hair care. It could be trimmers. You know, like it could be, you know, dental floss. You know what I'm saying? A dope Black restaurant in Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Melissa Mitchell. She's an awesome
our Flourish family. Melissa, incredible.
Beautiful art. wearable art. So she's out here flourishing, thriving. So I know it's like, why am I even, she's already out of here, right? So like,
yeah.
But I want to see her continue to ascend. And then there's this one brand that I like. It's a brand called James King, I believe. That's dope.
Huh.
They have a lot of dope sweaters. I've kind of noticed them from afar.
James King. Shout out to James King. I got to check y'all out.
Lore Gold. They do dope like leather, knit work. These are just people like I literally like. This is I didn't expect this question. Like I don't know why.
Like, no, good. That's good because I want to have, and that's a pure, like, honest answer. And the beauty of it is your taste, right? Like we just received information from the creative director, founder, designer of Jai Lyle, right? It's filtered through that. So we want to know what else that you see through those lenses that, we should be paying attention to.
Yeah, that jeweler vision,
That jeweler vision, and tell us briefly, man, before we depart about the universe, man. You've created not only an incredible, heritage company and a brand and beautiful garments that last and that people love, but you created this entire universe around this world, so to speak, around this brand. Tell me about that, man. It reminds me of Batman and that type of vibe, and it's unique and creative, and I think there's a lot of legs for you to run around with this. So just explain a little bit more.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you for that, because you kind of hit on it a little bit earlier where I was able to tap into like a lot of like my interests in creative, energies and spaces, so the Jeweliverse allows me to tap into all my superpowers where like I can, create a score for my visuals, and then you get a sense of my musical palette and taste. And then I can also, design a full coat, peak lapel, and then also you get the sense of like my childhood of like G.I. Joe, Destro influences on a LaGeorge jacket, So it allows me to tap into all of my superpowers, from drawing to music to design. So it allows me to be free and be a creative. This is my world where ultimately I've come to the understanding that I'm able to connect with someone somewhere who that may be from a diverse background, right? But ultimately I have the luxury of this vision, right? And that's like something that I'm just grateful to have, and I can connect with you, whether you're from a certain walk of life, you grew up, both parents, or where you grew up and you didn't have that circumstance, you didn't have that dynamic, but ultimately there's some way, some level that I can connect with you from an authentic space, and that's a part of that Jeweliverse as well. And then Jewel, and is just to kind of break down that name, was a nickname that I got while I was doing a show called Doing the Fool in Tallahassee.
Oh, yeah. That was my jam. Kind of like a comedy sketch. I mean, you got many talents. It was like in Living Color, like in between the Living Color, SNL, right. What folks are doing on IG now, comedians. It was hilarious, brother. And I had no idea, because you're a cool cat. So I didn't know that other character was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it taps into like a multitude of spaces. It kind of shows a full array of my personality, different dynamics of my superpowers and personality. And so Jula is essentially, I'm the joyful universal level ascension, where I'm here to bring joy, and inspire you, as I mentioned, to attract the luxuries of your mind, so that's about ascension. And then the Jeweliverse is a world of that.
I love that, man. And I got two more questions. The first, like, come on, bro. Like, how did you know you could do all this? Right? Like, how do you know? Because there are people who want to do things, but it's like, man, that's way beyond me. I can't do that. How did you know that you could do this?
I got to thank my parents, man. Like, because they put it in me, and then, success at an early age, positive reinforcement. And then ultimately, like, as a child, you had to take some form of accountability to the message being delivered to you. So it became my message, it became my DNA. And whenever, because there's moments of doubt, but ultimately, once you fear God, there's nothing else to fear. So
I don't know if it's Sunday or not, man, but
so like one
real statement. That is a real statement.
So once you get past that point, and you get to some sense of anxiety or some sense of self-doubt, ultimately you are able to overcome that because there's no fear.
Yeah, man. That's real, brother. I mean, not to make it like, morbid or anything, but just to be honest, I mean, at death, there's this realization when you confront it in a way that is close to you, that you get through and beyond that fear, there is no other fear but God, right? It's so freeing. At the same time that a departure is sad, a transition is freeing in the sense that that the container, your body is no longer, for your spirit to exist in this container is almost limiting, right? When somebody departs, when they transition, the body is no longer in the way. So that spirit is ever present. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It expands. It's very expansive. And I know that for you, it directly impacts, influences, and informs some of these like designs and ideas and execution, because I said, like, how did you know you could do it? You don't know, you think you can until there's theory and application. And when you get to the application part and you are applying, man, I know that you have an advocate. I know you have some hands, some loving arms, man. That's helping just, orchestrate and make us as beautiful as it is. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because, now being on the side of that, I understand.
Yeah.
Father's transitioning recently. I get it.
Yeah, most definitely. And this is the first time I think we verbally, we've been kind of texting back and forth, but we verbally connected since that, man, being that, our brand is about luxury, heritage, but ultimately the pillars of that brand is legacy, success, family. So I again, just personally, face to face, I want to send my energy, positive love out to you, and you just being strong during this time, man. You being strong.
Hey, don't even worry about the enemy trying to fool with us. You know what I'm saying?
Mercy and grace.
We're out here. We leaving that in there. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no edits in this thing.
Exactly. Listen, we're here. It's all good.
No, I appreciate that, man. I do. And I have an even greater connection to just, the reason and the fuel behind you and around you. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Even if I wanted to stop, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful combination, man. That's a when you have talent and gift mixed with that level of ambition and desire and that I ain't gonna stop, never settle type of energy. I mean, that's how you get a Kobe.
Yeah.
That's how you get a Mike. That's who those people are, who are practicing while y'all are partying and all that. Like when they got the championship ring, they back in the in the gym the same night. You know what I mean? That foresight to see that you're gonna win, but this is what you got to do to get there. You already feel the win, right? Like you can go and grab the win. You can go and grab the thing that you're trying to get to. It's already there. You can get it and then just apply and allow time and process to manifest what you saw, your vision. It's already there, and I'm glad that you understand that. So the final question, man, is why flourish?
Why not? I mean, it was pretty like 1 + 1 is 2, right? I'm with
or 3 in some instances, right?
Exactly. So you have great direction, reputable partners, an opportunity to be a part of something that's groundbreaking like my brand. So why not? It's a connection that I'm just honored to be a part of, first and foremost. But secondly, like, listen, we're about, as I mentioned, being on the right side of history.
Yeah.
You know, so it's in pure alignment with the brand, and it's just an easy choice for me to flourish. Why not?
Hey, man. Hey, we about to take this thing up top, my man. Jai Lyle, my brother, my friend, my guy. It's a pleasure and honor to know you, man. It's beautiful to take part and to see your vision flourish and to see your idea just continue to grow, man. To wear these products and just be able to say to my son, like, yo, that's my guy. Like,
hey, listen to the kids, bro.
Listen to the kids, bro. On that note, man, I got to listen to my kid and go feed him and go feed my daughter. But brother, it's a pleasure again, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to flourish. Looking forward to just success, legacy, family, the whole nine, man. Thank you so much, Anatol.